Good morning, yogis. And so this morning I'm just going to bring you a little instruction about easy pose, also known as Sukasana. So easy pose is not quite as easy for all people, sometimes if they experience tension in the hips or the knees. And so just a few points and tips to help find ease in easy pose. And so coming to a cross-legged position, I find that it sometimes is nicer to put my feet one in front of the other, and it takes the tension away from the ankles. And so you just want to ground down into the earth, find those sit bones and allow the weight of the body to be evenly distributed. If by doing this there's a little bit of tension to the ankles and it's hard on the ground, you can take a blanket and pop the blanket just underneath the ankles to give yourselves a little bit of padding. And then we can bring the hands to the knees and just soften the shoulders. And so from here, if there's still maybe a little bit of tension in the hips or the knees, we can bring some blocks and pop them underneath the knees, helping to support the hips. It might be a little bit further down towards the ankles, or they might be higher up towards the hips. So just bringing those blocks to anywhere that's comfortable for you. And this just supports the knees and the hips. And if there's tension and they're wanting to sink down but they're not quite wanting to go, then it just gives you some support there. Another option would be to bring the block and pop it underneath the sit bones. And so allow yourself to just perch on 2/3 of the block. So this just allows the pelvis to tilt slightly. The knees can come down and create a nice strong base. So the knees come down to the ground, the pelvis tilts, we can engage the core, and this just automatically allows the heart to lift and open to the sky. And so we want to sit onto the block in a way that supports the body. If we find that we sit on top of the block, like a little bit of a mushroom, all we're actually doing is lifting up the whole body. So just coming forward onto the edge of the block, bringing the knees down, and again relaxing the shoulders, lifting the heart, and adding some length to the spine. And if this option still isn't quite right for you, another option is that we can bring the block underneath the sit bones and allow ourselves to come into a hero's pose, but supported with the blocks. And then this allows the hips to be a little bit higher and removes a little bit of the tension from the knees. And we can sit in this way with the feet either side of the block and ground down into the earth through the block, closing the eyes and relaxing the shoulders. And if this pose still isn't quite comfortable, quite right for you, one final option. So if you'd like to remove the blocks and just bring the legs straight out in front of you, keeping the legs stretched out in front, and just to soften the knees, we're going to roll up a little blanket and pop that underneath the knees. Just to help soften the knees and prevent them from sinking all the way down and adding tension to the knees. Grounding through the sit bones, allow the shoulders to soften and close the eyes. As you inhale, add length to the spine, and as you exhale, allow the breath to roll down the body and connect with the earth on which you sit. And so hopefully these tips have helped you to find a little bit of ease in easy pose, otherwise known as Sukasana. Have a little bit of a play, see which pose works for you. And it might be that one pose works one day and a different pose works for you for a different day. So have a play and see what works. Namaste.